This is a tale of a gnome, or a little person, sometimes known as a hobbit in other stories. This story will take such a small creature around the whole world of Azeroth and back, where even the littlest of people can have the biggest adventures. Our journey begins in a cold, frosty landscape of Cold Ridge Valley, where dwarves and gnomes live peacefully amongst one another. Here lies our hero for the tale, Anti-Hobbit. He lives here with his uncle, Bilbo Baggins, and Frodo Gnome. But while Frodo Gnome would practice with a sword on the local wildlife, Anti-Hobbit preferred a practice called magic, taught by a human wizard. He slowly learned how to wield such power, but he also started to like the darker side to magic, becoming a prodigy of a warlock, being able to tap into shadow and flame. Then what started off as a peaceful morning would soon be a day to change this gnome's life forever. You see, the thought of leaving this valley never crossed Anti-Hobbit's mind. He had ale, food, and of course the local ladies. As he was doing his daily task of hunting down some rabbits, heading up to the hill, down ran a familiar face. It was Bilbo, his uncle. As we waved to him, he had a message. He was panicking.
Anti-Hobbit, you need to take this rings to the depths of molten core. It must be destroyed. Do this now before they come.
Before who comes? As we are then trading an item, the One Ring. Before I then see an orc sneaking up on Bilbo from behind, and I tell him to run, as he turns around and is struck down in one swift blow, as it looks like the orc was looking for something. And as Bilbo lays murdered on the floor, all we can do is mourn his life and think about the words that was just said to us. But while we're about to embark on an epic adventure in Azeroth, there's also another world where adventure and glory awaits. The realm of Teleria in the game Raid Shadow Legends. But one of the coolest factions in the game is the Sylvan Watchers, and you can see the theme is nature. But it's not just trees and mushrooms, each champion have got their own unique look with some really cool armour that I'd love to transmog. With my personal favourites being Elva Autumnborn. I mean, just look at that staff, along with Dude and the Runic. One of the things I also enjoy about playing Raid is the AAA graphics. I mean, it looks stunning, right? Along with the amount of content that they like to update the game with, always keeping it fresh. To make it even better as it's July and summer's here, there's a free legendary champion, Leminisi the Gold-wing. She's a force of light designed to defeat corruption, undead hordes, and anything that lurks in the dark. I'll show you how to get her. Log in for 7 days between July the 3rd and August the 20th, and she's yours. It's that easy. Also, new players after downloading the game by using my link in the description or scanning the QR code on screen get 2 epic heroes. Kellan the Shrike first, and then when you reach level 15, you get Grizzled Jarl. I mean, look how serious this dwarf is. On top of that, new players can get an extra legendary hero using one of the 5 promo codes on screen right now. But my personal choice is Fowlin Foulbeard. He's a dwarf, and you know I like dwarfs. Use a code Demon Slayer to get him. Trust me, you won't regret it. So if you haven't took the plunge into the realm of Teleria yet, now's a great time to start. Download Raid now using my link or the QR code. Really helps support the channel. Thank you guys, and thank you to Raid. The ring Bilbo gave us is an item called the One Ring that gives you a +1 in every single stat. But it's got a level requirement. What is this ring? It looks like an ordinary gold ring. Why does Bilbo want us to destroy it? Why molten core? How come he was slain for it? So many questions for a hobbit that has never seen adventure. But that all changes starting now. Our low level warlock must become powerful. He must travel the world, level up, get gear, and most importantly destroy the ring. Like any adventurer, humble beginnings are where it starts. Testing our abilities on the local wildlife that usually the warriors of their valley do. After all, we are just a rabbit gatherer, and they're the creatures we usually test our magic on. But now we needed to get strong. Wolves offered good meat for our village, and it was a way for us to prove ourselves. As to leave this place, we must show we can handle the journey. As we warm ourselves up and speak to our warlock trainer, who now tells us that all the warlocks have been whispering about us, and to gather 3 feather charms. They must have felt my anger over what happened to Bilbo, and know I will become the most powerful warlock on this server. Orcs shall fear my name. And while I'm also slaughtering the Trogs, who have bred and took over this valley in tenfold, I mean, look at them, stood inside each other holding their... Wait, should I put this in my script? Can I even say this? Bones. While gnomes and dwarves coexist in some sort of peace, I remember why I don't have that strong of a liking for the smelly things. While I'm fighting my creatures, meet my first nemesis of the run. Bilmaz. He sees me casting a spell on a boar, runs up and takes the mob right in front of my face. So I say, "You what, little dwarf?" And he says,
"Keck."
"Okay, fight on, you're getting it. I may be weak, but you just can't do that to me." Except he can. This priest smites me to oblivion while I barely do any damage to him. He then says,
"Wrecked."
and I tell him, one day I will kill you, mark my words. I couldn't save Bilbo, I couldn't beat Bilmaz, I needed to get stronger. I would encounter him around the valley then, and I would taunt him every chance I got, whispering in his ear, taunting him, letting him know, you're never going to be safe. Our task was to infiltrate the ugly Frostmane trolls that had been kidnapping and eating the residents. The valley was becoming more and more dangerous, and in order to grow stronger, we had to be brave and take on these tasks. But then I encountered her, the other gnome warlock who has caught every gnome's attention, Rample Nice. She wears the same gown as me, has the same hair colour as me, loves the dark shadows like me. She's perfect. I invite her to team up, which she does. She levels up, as I don't say anything because I'm too shy. I just cheer at her. I would loot a belt and realise she didn't have any, and being the gentle gnome I am, would offer her this clothing to stay warm, as her first words to me was,
thank you.
All I could do was put a love art back. The trolls would leave their items in chest lying about, and how could I take this? I couldn't, so I offer it to her as a token. Then in order to summon a demon, we've got to collect feather charms from the trolls deep in this cave. And as I level, she cheers back at me. Was this love? I would do some wild parkour tricks, impressing her, to take out our final novice. But she seemed like she was struggling and lost. So I once again took control and shown her the way up, as she then tells me,
nice.
Maybe leaving the valley was a bad idea. Maybe I can keep the One Ring and offer it to Rample Nice. No, I can't. I must stick with Bilbo's mission. As we then leave the troll cave, I tell her I must leave, but if she needs any help, to call me, as she just replies with,
okay, thank you for help.
I blow her a kiss, and I never see her again. At least this episode. You'd think after slaying trolls and trogs, wolves and boars, people would give me a bit more respect now, but no, I have to deliver the dwarf's ale, just so he can have a drink, and then return his mug. What do you take me for, a mug? Get it? No, alright, I'll see myself out. But it's time to turn in these feather charms, and receive the first thing that separates a warlock from a mage, a dark wizard from a light wizard. A demon. That's right, my first demon is an imp. I wonder what evil name we shall get for it as we summon it forth into the world. I bet it's going to be so dark, so cool. Oh, okay. Hi Chobis. Learning spells is a pricey task as well, and with no inheritance off Bilbo, we're going to have to try and make our money somehow. Now, not all dwarves are bad, as I team up with a hunter called Madson, who's pretty skilled with a gun. And we took down the trolls leader, Griknir the Cold. And that should settle things here in the valley, as we now have access to all of his information. With all these tasks done, we're a nice level 5, and I also realise we've got to spend some money teaching our pets some spells too, so that's going to suck. But with everything done in the valley, nobody else can really teach us anything. As we pass where Bilbo was struck down, I was scared, but I was also ready for the next step. As we peered down onto where it all began, it was time to go on an adventure. The cave on the way out was full of trogs that slaughter most of our traders as they come and go from the valley into the world. I did my part dwindling down their numbers on my way through with Chobis to make trading hopefully a lot easier. Then we see our first human in the world, who must have travelled long and far to be here. I also came to the realisation that Chobis is actually really ugly, looking at him. But I gotta be kinda nice to him or I won't get any help from this little imp on my journey. Our first stop now, as we are in the open world, is the town of Kahanaros. Probably said that wrong. It's a town Anti-Hobbit has never visited before, and it seems elves have also travelled here as well. For whatever reason it is, it remains to be unseen. As we enter the inn for some warm food and a place to sleep after travelling, it's overrun with dwarves and gnomes alike. So I say, does anyone want to share a drink? To which I offer the first round. The one problem is, I can't really afford to pay for the first round, and now I've got company. Lucky for me, Donashaf, probably butchered that name, buys some beers. As we got a drunken dwarf dancing on the table, I end up spending all of my cash on the local ale and we end up drinking and dancing on the table. We share some light-hearted conversation and my opinion on dwarves starts to change a little bit here, but it was time for me to grow stronger. I told them that Bilbo told me to destroy the ring, sharing my burden with others, as the dwarfs asked me if I need companions, to which I reply yes, as he wants to go to Mordor. What's Mordor? I said I'll call upon them, as Insensex says,
if you want me to get naked once more, just whisper.
We wish each other well and continue on our journeys. After accepting tasks from the local residents, I realise I've got no money left. I've stupidly spent it all on partying in the inn, and we also need a profession, a high quality skill to try and make gold. I'm immediately in trouble as the wolves of this area set upon me like a pack of, wolves, and eat in Chobis. But with gold needed to be made, we got to head to the capital, the Kingdom of Dwarves, deep in the mountain, Ironforge. Now in order to make gold, it's the same as real life, you need a skill. So our high quality skill was dancing on the table for gold. Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do. After being given a single gold piece, this can allow us to get off the ground with some professions and level them up a little bit. I decided to become a tailor, learning how to make different cloth garments to increase our intellect. We also buy a wand that will help us shoot down our enemies, and that is pretty powerful for a caster. And then we also buy some storage because having extra bag space in Classic can make our journey a lot easier at the start. The second profession I decided to take was skinning, allowing me to take the hides and skins off animals and creatures we slay, which I'm hoping will make us some good money on the auction house because, oh my god, look at it. It is beautiful. Other people end up making your money for you, and all that's left for you to do is clean up. But be warned, the act of skinning can become addicting, and you will go out of your way to constantly get the dopamine hit of seeing that weird brown icon show up on your cursor. Still don't know what it's supposed to be. Defeating creatures like the Wendigos now is an easy feat for our anti-hobbit, as he grows in power, and now having a wand means mana and drinks are pretty scarce at these earlier levels. However, because we called Chobis ugly, the little shit comes out of a cave with several Wendigos behind him, dies, and tries to get me killed too. Are we ever going to get along with this imp and I? While navigating the snowy landscapes of the valley was no problem for our little gnome, the mountains of Dunmorrow proved to be a more difficult task. What seems to be obvious landmarks just ended up being belongings of the dead that couldn't survive the night or cold, and finding quest givers becomes a pain in this little guy's ass cheek. Then we had a deadly area to enter, the area of Gnomeregan. This was where the gnomes lived peacefully until the sick and twisted leper gnomes invaded. These guys are much more deadly than anything I've encountered yet. We've got to be careful of fighting them now. These guys would hurt, and we would have to make use of our resources like food to stay healthy. But something was off. I could feel there was eyes piercing me every time I would slay one. It was like they could sense something on me. Were they after it? Were they after my ring? We couldn't escape the trolls either. It seems as if the world has become much more dangerous. This is what Bilbo was shielding us from. Army of trolls would take up towns and charge anyone that got too close, including me. And Chobis, who would always make a good little sacrifice while I ran away. But Anti-Hobbit found himself stranded deep in a troll cave one evening. He slipped off the side of an ice edge and before he knew it, was surrounded by trolls. Knowing his first death awaited him, the little gnome tried to Hearthstone out, but at the very last second, a spear to the face gave Anti-Hobbit his first taste of defeat. We then became a thief, stealing ale from dwarves and trading it between them, but we don't care because money is money and XP is XP. We'll do whatever it takes for it. The other gnomes here was a bit on the crazy side. They'd captured a leper gnome that had been stalking me, who had been speaking a crazy language, calling me a nasty little hobbit, and I stole his precious. What does that even mean? It's okay, they turned him into a chicken and off he went. I wonder if we will see him ever again. With many tasks complete, a lot of running about, fighting and growing in power, Anti-Hobbit hit that milestone level 10. This now opens up specializations to us. You got Affliction, which is a dot and rot spec, Demonology, which is more focused on your pets, survivability and damage, then Destruction, a powerful wielder of Flaming Shadow. And of course we're going Destruction. I heard it's probably one of the worst specs to level as, but we don't care, we want big crits, big damage. Now being level 10 as well, we can finally wear the burden. While we will get some power from this ring, I can already feel its corruption just sitting in my bags. As I approach the King of the Dwarves, I feel like just giving it to him and letting him get rid of it. But who can I trust? So I decide to throw it into the molten lava in Ironforge. But the ring just wouldn't go in, it wouldn't burn and be destroyed. So if I can't destroy it here, I'm gonna have to wear the One Ring until I reach Molten Core, defeat Ragnaros and burn it there. Our next warlock task to tame some more demons had us venture far away from our snowy lands into new territory. On the way I met a weird gnome who wanted me to collect some of the Tram's rats, because I'm sure he's going to use them as pets or get rid of them as they are vermin, and he's now saying he wants us to give them to his brother. I'm pretty sure they're serving rat kebabs to people. Ugh. However, I'm about to miss a Tram, but with a very, very well timed leap of faith, I make it. Skill. In the capital of Stormwind then, I take some time to do something I like to call character maintenance. Things like leveling up my professions, tailoring, and visiting the auction house to sell the leather I've been farming. Turns out it's worth a pretty penny currently too. Always worth selling off your trade goods. The reason we are here though is to visit the Slaughtered Lamb, a place of experienced warlocks to take our next task. We are then tasked with taking Serena's choker, no matter the method, if she's alive or dead. So that's what our little gnome sends out to do, as we leave the glorious human capital with huge gates decorated in flowers into a luscious green forest, a completely different environment from the harsh cold we are used to. This is where the humans live, taking down their own bandits. But our task is just one, to kill Serena. So I attack her before an army of people come for me, and this little poo-head paladin decides it's time to steal the chest while I've got 100 mobs on me. Luckily for me, he gets in combat at the same time. So after we kill the mobs, it's a race to click the chest. It's neck and neck and I lose it. I loot the choker though from Serena, and that is our warlock task done. Before deciding to head back to Stormwind and my home valley, I noticed a sign. It's a wanted poster for a creature that's terrorized these lands for so long, Hogger. And this is where Anti-Hobbit can make a difference. As we then roam the land searching for this terrifying gnoll who would eat gnomes for breakfast, I find him pretty quickly. He's got a gold portrait, meaning he's an elite mob, so we gotta be careful. He starts slapping Chobis for crazy damage as we land a fear on him, which is basically a stunning classic, but he then runs and gets help too. Chobis then gets taken out and I'm in a bit of a pickle. I can see another warlock just watching me, but I managed to keep the fears going on Hogger with my dots rolling. Then Gulani decides to actually help me out a little bit, and with pure precision, we slay the leader of the gnolls and make Elwyn Forest a safer place. Speaking back to Gakin and giving him the choker, he then tasks us with going to the basement. Creepy? Creepy, I know. The reason is we must summon a Voidwalker and beat it. Voidwalkers are tanky creatures and can take aggro, but we quickly defeat it. This allows us then to learn how to summon one as our knowledge of being a warlock starts to grow. With the forest free of Hogger, our warlock task completed, I decided there's only one place to head back to, home, Dunmorrow, swapping out the green grass for white snow. There's only a few more tasks left for us to do here, and I wanted to make sure I helped everyone out. Our last quest here is to slay a Yeti who's been eating everybody. Dunmorrow's Hogger, Vargash. As I noticed a high level hunter in the area obtaining his first mount, I asked him for help. Then I walked to his cave. It's pretty scary on the way. It's covered in half-eaten animals and dwarves and gnomes, but I'm not scared of Vargash. Mieta then comes riding into battle on his ram as we charge Vargash together, and he quickly falls to the hunter and his pet. We take his fang, skin his corpse, and Dunmorrow complete. Our next stop on our little anti-hobbits journey took us out of the cold pretty quickly after going back there, and it takes us into the beautiful loch. It's the next stop for gnomes and dwarves on their journey. It's not as green as the Elwyn Forest, but it's extremely cozy. A new area means a new inn and a new home for the time being, but we've got to really pick up the pace now and start making a good dent in this leveling journey. As we look out onto the loch, Anti-Hobbit will purge this land and make it safe once more. Now I'm on a PvP realm in Europe, so one of the rules is I'll play with my PvP permanently on. Even in the low level areas, even in the cities, it'll never be switched off. If it's red, it's dead. Because obviously in Loch Modan, I ain't gonna get attacked. Oh, okay. This actually jump scared me. Why is there a goddamn torrent near Fesselmar? And my first PvP encounter ends with a swift death. I will get revenge on you cows. Some of the quests here in the loch actually have timers too, which honestly I couldn't remember doing. I guess it was to test our hunting ability of the local wildlife. But it wasn't just a kill quest, you had to return to the quest giver in that time period too. As I got close back to the lodge, I noticed the rare spider, Shanda the Spinner, was lurking in a cave. She blocks the path to the fiery zones, eating poor travellers that walk into a web. After turning in my quests, I think of trying to take her on, but she is level 19 and I'm only level 14. And as I stand outside a cave, I decide I have to try. I set her on fire with an immolate. Well, I would have, but she resisted it. Then I get up all my damage over time spells before I lock her in a fear and start shooting her with my wand. My Voidwalker, Grunfic, cool name by the way, better than Chobis, is holding on for his dear life, but he's very close to dying. But with constant fears and dots rolling, we bring down a level 19 rare mob, and we're immediately rewarded with a powerful chest piece, and the spider is no more. On our travels in the cave, we have to take down the Trog leaders too, really stepping up our tasks needed and proving we can make it in this world and fulfill Bilbo's task. After waiting for, not kidding, about 10 minutes for them to show their faces, they all spawn at the same time. This could be rough. Nashor, Gromog and Brawler. The fight starts off fine. I fear one to Narnia, making it a 2-on-2 with my pet. But then as I slay one of the troll leaders, my health is pretty low. So I fear the main leader Gromog again, but this time he runs for help as we slay Brawler. Then all of a sudden, I'm slapped super hard and I die. At least I managed to take out 2 of them. This means when I get all the way back to my body, it's just little old Gromog on his own. Not so tough without your crew now, are you? As I then take him down. Then I do a stupid thing of thinking I can just run out of a cave full of trogs after doing what I just did. Yeah, they killed me again pretty quickly, but that was my plan. So I could teleport back to town faster. Oh wait, the quest giver is back there. Shit. One of the last quests we can do in the loch, at least for now, was to escort a dwarf to his campsite. Most of the quests here are meant for someone with a higher level or more adventuring experience, so we've got to come back here later to finish off its story. This meant travelling all around the world, something Anti-Hobbit was getting quite used to. I also saw a video of a guy who explains all of Azeroth's map, and as you go under this tram, it was supposed to take you to the Night Elf capital originally, hence going under the sea, not to Stormwind. And I always see the rare Nessie without a doubt. Fun fact, if you know the guy I'm talking about, please do let me know in the comments because I'd love to find his channel. We head to Westfall now, a place where the grass isn't green, nor is the ground cold with snow. It's more of a farmer's land full of murlocs that I farmed for way too long for a treasure map, before I ended up running into old Murkai, who ate me alive. Lovely start to Westfall. And while I've got red sickness, I randomly get killed by Grimfic, who's got some sort of disease that is spreading to me. I can't catch a break, the world has turned super deadly. My own minions are out to get me. I then meet a warrior as I'm questing, collecting oats and killing harvest watchers. It's called One Piece Garp, who tells me,
"Come, Hobbit."
Alright, so I do, and we kill things together. Well, when they spawn. He then kicked me before this and re-invited me. Then he randomly goes AFK in the middle of the field. Fair enough. I also have a quest to kill Defiance members too, so I'm killing watchers for us both, and I'm taking on Defiance members while waiting for respawns. But when he comes back, he just decides to leave the group again. Alright, fair enough, maybe he's done. But then I see he's still killing watchers. Alright, so I decided to just start tagging mobs, because if you don't want to group up, that's fine, even though it is faster. He then says,
"How you come so fast here?"
and I just say ease because I'm fast for a small creature. I can see he wants to fight for mobs rather than group up, so I get a tag on a watcher and he just says,
"Report."
I tell him, "It's your own fault, mate." And then he whispers me, and I just say, "Stop inviting and kicking people." Then he puts me on ignore. Lovely stuff. One of the main reasons I'm in Westfall is our first dungeon. We need to gather a lot of quests before we can head there, and a lot of you probably know what dungeon I'm talking about. But if you don't, you will soon. Step 1. Haul ass through the whole zone of Elwyn on foot, to Redridge Mountains. While doing this, I see all my light leather is sold, giving us 8 gold already. Lovely jubbly. Step 2. Turn in the quest, who then tells you to go all the way back to Westfall. But now you should have the flight plan, so it shouldn't be as long. Step 3. Take the flight path once more, this time you go into Stormwind. After going to Stormwind, you go in and back to Westfall. Now you're in search of a mob that can patrol the whole zone, and also other people are usually after. So I get to searching for him. Now I come to a fork in the road, and I decide to keep heading north, and then I meet a rogue who is also looking for the messenger. So I decide to head back the way I came with her. And it's bloody lucky I did, because guess who's coming from the other side of the fork in the road? The Defiance messenger. Exactly who we need. We've got to slay him to gather his intel and try and find out who the leader of this Defiance crew is. With all them quests done, it was time to gather our fellowship and get ready for a dungeon. I was joined by Enel, the Night Elf Druid, Kyujitsu, the Night Elf Hunter, and Salo Pirate, the Gnome Rogue. A fellow small person. I had a lot of faith in them. To round it off came Extra, the Human Warrior. Unfortunately for us, no dwarves, but this'll have to do. While waiting for our party to gather, I was slaying the Defiance pillagers whose fireballs freaking hurt, honestly, as well as the looters that ransacked this one booming town of Moonbrook. In the mines before you head into the dungeon are workers, and also undead workers. We need to slay these for their cards and their undead leader. And Extra wasn't going to join us in the dungeon, he was just going to do these quests outside, until Kyujitsu used his bargaining skills to tempt him into more glory and loot. Then he says,
"Okay, we can try."
Perfect. We clear out most of the undead there, as well as their little leader, Foreman Thistlenet. It's a sad story of these miners being turned into bloodthirsty monsters, but we're here at least to make them find peace. I lacked some quest items and so did Extra, but our party decided we would do it after, and we went into our first dungeon and took the portal into Dead Mines. Now I would have shown you the whole run, but I'm just going to take you to the boat, which is near the end, because if I'm being honest, our group was unstoppable. No deaths, no issues, no problem. Sure, we wasn't the quickest at killing Defiance members here, but we was damn right impossible to stop. Now there was one issue I want to talk about. Me and Caillou the Hunter came in here at a low level of 17, which means you could potentially pull the whole bolt as they're a higher level of 19 to 20. But I hit the level up and reach a pretty much safe number of 18. We're about to approach the second to last boss, which is Captain Greenskin. Now it's not my first encounter, but this guy is probably one of the ugliest goblins I've seen. And as long as the Hunter stays back, we should be okay. Wait, why are you there? He then pulls the last boss, who also has 2 ads, so now we've got 2 bosses, 4 ads, and the Hunter is quickly killed. As me and the Druid jump off the boat and run away. Salo Piot falls quickly after, and then I realise, crap, we've got a Druid. They only have 1 combat res. Yeah, it's going to be a tough run. But it's alright, our fellowship is strong, and one mistake does not define us. While waiting for our group to get back, Salo Piot is set upon by a patrol of elites. Now we thought as a rogue they would be fine getting back to us, so we decide, alright, I guess we're going to head back to escort the gnome. Caillou is still being super apologetic, but it's not his fault, it's just Hunter things. Now I don't know what happens, but our healer Nell dies too, and all of a sudden things are going south. Apparently the boss got pulled once again, so now we've got to head back to grab our gnome and our night elf. We go back, take out the Defiance wizards and taskmasters that Blizzard put in the game to punish you more for dying, and we can't really afford any more deaths as we've got no resurrects now. But we all gather up once more and ready for revenge. With more precision and skill, mastery of our abilities, we dispatch the captain and his pirates and parrots, and there is nothing standing in our way now with the Defias leader. He's got control over Westfall, and the bandits of Elwyn Forest. Slaying him will surely put our name, Anti-Hobbit, in glory. Edwin VanCleef, who's got a silver dragon. Maybe it's one of my add-ons, but it looks pretty cool. He's got 2 Defias Blackguards defending him, and you want to prioritise slaying these first, before the damage gets overwhelming and the healer runs out of mana. We get rid of 2 of them, and at 50% health, Edwin calls for more help, but now we've got to focus on the boss. Slay the leader, and then that'll surely be victory. Mana starts to look bleak. I'm having to use a wand for my damage, but as a knell does go we do kill VanCleef. And thank God Cruel Barb didn't drop. I found that on my rogue way too many times. We collect his head and an unsent letter, and we have brought peace to the area. But we still had to slay a Murloc called Cookie, who drops a really overpowered wand. If I get this, it'll make solo questing so great. Say hello Piot just says bye and dips. Oh well, see you later dude. As the Murloc tries their best to take us out. But we do slay Cookie, who drops a wand, and we're the only ones that can use it, so a huge upgrade. Then as I leave the dead mines with my fellow adventurers, I feel accomplished, but there was still our home, the Loch, that was on my mind. I had to go back there. But first we spent a bit more time farming out the undead, making sure everybody fully completed their quest for huge experience. We collect all the Miners Union cards, and then our band of adventurers go their separate ways, as I tell them our fellowship can now end. It didn't end gracefully, as we all just give it tolls running out the mines and pulling every single NPC we could, but we make it out unscathed, don't worry, we don't leave anyone behind, and it was a great way to end the evening, as we got to save that Loch. I went back to Stormwind then with tired legs to do some maintenance and take some self-care, level up our first aid and tailoring, and sell some of the items as we're doing really well financially. We're keeping up with tailoring is nice as it allows us to make gear that we can maybe equip, but it sucks that first aid and tailoring both use the same cloth at the moment, so I've got to make a choice on what to prioritise. It was the very next day, and if anybody watches the channel or has seen my rogue's journey, you know I will farm dead mines over and over to try and get an item. I decided to go on one run and see if I can get a ring off Gilnid, a horrible goblin, and it does in fact drop. Now, 2 agility is 2 agility as a hunter tried needing it, but we do win it, giving us now 2 rings, hopefully that contain the 1 ring's power, for now. I also got my first guild invite, and when I joined I saw loads of people online, until I realised it was a bloody gold selling guild, and that was my quickest G-quit ever. I didn't know they had their own guilds offering out gold starter packs, sheesh. Oh, by the way, Cruel Bob did drop on my second run, and a hunter got it because no one needed it. I'm totally not salty. Now, do you remember that cow, the Tauren, earlier on? Well, as I'm peacefully minding my own business on the streets of the human capital, I'm once again jump scared by another cow. This time it's a cat called Taurensley, and having my PvP on everywhere sure is starting to cause me some trouble. Don't you worry, you will all pay with your own blood when I get strong enough. But it was finally time to head home and head to the Loch. As we flew on a griffin over our snowy home, it reminds me of how far we've already came. The quest we couldn't do earlier, now we can. Now some of these are brutal. The Loch, while once a peaceful place, is just infested with creatures that are too strong for the local folk. Like the bear that resides right next to the town, Old Sooty. Elite creatures were okay for us, we could have sort of handled them with the good old dot, shadow bolt and fear spam. But while I can do good damage, I take a lot of damage, I don't have much health, and my mana regen really sucks right now, even with life tap. The downside of me being destruction. It only takes a few bites for the bear to take me out, but we do claim the old bear's life and collect its head. One of our next quests took us to a cave where we encountered a brand new monster, an Olga, the Mogrash Ogres. They're savages that beat gnomes and use them for toothpicks. We've been tasked with slimming down their numbers and claiming their leader's head. We really like to collect heads off things, don't we? I teamed up with another gnome cartoons for this task, but in their leader's stronghold, death awaits. One wrong move and they end you. But we are both wielders of magic, complementing each other with our spells. Cartoons though isn't happy about how far the run is, by the way. He said it's 100 kilometers and it made him
so mad.
So when we are taking on another brute who basically 2 hits Cartoon, he is really not happy one bit. I did try to save him and just couldn't. Then my fear pathing takes one ogre into many. So knowing my doom awaits me, I stand there, accepting it once again, fighting to my last breath, before the mystics fry me with lightning. Me and Cartoons did come back here and killed the boss, but I want to show you this cave again really soon. We got told there's a dark threat looming in the Loch and picked up a quest. This will require us to go on a pretty long and scary walk through the wetlands. On our way, we are tasked with slaying the orcs that are killing every single traveller that dares go through the pass, and I feel like I'm up to that task now. As I start clearing their numbers, I see 2 horde players of a very high level running past me. So I don't move so they don't notice me, but they do notice me. But they wave, so I cheer at them as they go to kill one of their own that was attacking me. I was nice to them now, but I will show them no mercy in the future. This is all a fake act. Once the numbers had been dwindled, I traversed my way through Dunargaz and entered the zone of wetlands. Here, spiders, crocolists and other monstrosities await. The world is truly terrifying for our anti-hobbit, but thanks to Grimfict, we can make it across the lands most of the time safely. Then if we do indeed fall, thanks to a soul stone, we can pop right back up like nothing ever happened. We travel all the way to the dwarves and let them know there is a threat to the loch, as they tell us, yeah, they're making a bomb, and they send us right back to where we came from. In order to defuse this bomb, we needed to get some ingredients. A crocolist tear, which we got pretty easy from a crocodile, but then we needed a Mogrosh crystal. This took us back to the cave where the ogres lived with their boss. Me and Terracos, a holy paladin, slowly made our way in there, and I mean slowly, but steady, and there was no leader here in sight. Maybe he knew we was coming to ambush him. I'm glad I've got a paladin with me, as these brutes would too hit me. I'm not even kidding, they would just slap me every time. We then teamed up with 2 dwarves, Jblizz and Zetone. Now I spent a long time farming this crystal, but it never dropped. They asked us if we was already in the cave, to which we was, and they asked us to go out and meet them, but we're trapped in the cave. Terracos then falls, and that means one thing for me too. Death and a long corpse run back to our body. 5 minutes later we make it back, then Zetone wants to go together, which is fine, as me and Terracos start making our way out of the cave. Then he comes out of nowhere saying he's got to go, and then loots a crystal. Yeah, sure buddy. I then run out the cave as fast as I can, pulling everything to get to this crystal before it despawns. I sacrifice Grimfic, giving me a shield on literally 1 HP, and I make it to Jblizz alive. I left Terracos to fend for himself and he died again, and I feel really bad, but I loot the crystal and it's over. I got it after an hour, but I lost part of my soul to do that. Being a gnome in my word, I help Jblizz and Terracos with their task. We kill off all the ogres they need, and quite frankly I was a bit sick of seeing these Mogrosh guys, but we killed the final enforcer. Then me, the dwarf and the human part ways. The last ingredient I needed was some lurker venom, and then maybe we got a chance at stopping the bomb. But who was behind it? Who would want to blow up the loch? I killed some woodlurker spiders, that's double anti-hobbit size, until we found the venom. Then we headed straight back to the dam with a lot of urgency. But I forgot that even these lands are not safe from horde scum, and I barely see over a hill as there is a group of them on our lands. I don't even know their purpose apart from being savages. Grimfic once again takes a full brunt for his master, allowing me to escape with my life. And he's a good pet, not like you Chobis. As I rush back to the dam with my ingredients gathered, I speak to the dwarf there and I tell him the plans for it to be a bomb. He says he spotted some dark iron dwarves swimming there earlier today, and I knew it'd be dark iron dwarves, it always is. So, with no hesitation, we jump into the lake and swim around looking for it before we come across an explosive charge. We carefully dismantle it with all our gnomish knowledge and with the mixture we created and defuse the bomb. We head back to the chief engineer and we save the dam. In return, saving the loch and probably lots of lives. Not bad for a little gnome from Coldred Valley. As I then look upon the dam, still intact, what a journey it's been in such a small amount of time. Meeting some friends, making some enemies, getting rich, but we've got one purpose, and that's to destroy the One Ring in Molten Core. We then collect our mail and head down for a well-deserved rest, with plenty more adventures yet to come that will surely test our little guy. Like the video if you liked it, subscribe if you're new. Don't forget to check out Raid Shadow Legends using my link in the comments below. It helps out a ton and I'm sure you'll like it. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you in the next one.